Hi, it's Joy Foster, the founder of TechPixies, and you're listening to the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's October, and we try every year to bring the amazing story of one of our TechPixies who's faced breast cancer themselves, and what life was like before and after, and how TechPixies might have helped shape the future for them. So Dawn Taylor, I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. I have just watched you dive into the training at TechPixies completely and utterly. And it's so beautiful to see someone who just goes for it and puts their all into everything. And you have an amazing story. So let's start by telling your story and where you were before TechPixies and what had happened in it.
Hi, thanks, Joy, and thank you for inviting me on the podcast. It's an honour to be with you this morning. Before I joined TechPixies, I just moved back to the UK at the end of 2022. I've been living in the Netherlands for the past over a decade, and I've been working as a humanitarian aid worker for a medical aid charity. But yeah. As you might be aware, in 2018, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and basically that changed my whole life, as you can imagine. So yeah, at the end of 2022, after a lot of thinking, a lot of reflection, help with my mental health, I decided that I needed to make a change. So I gave up my job, gave up my house and career in the Netherlands, and moved back to the UK. To be near my family. So I moved to a lovely village in the countryside in Leicestershire near my family. And at that point, I bought a house, I bought a car, I'd done the house up. I was just focused on that, taking a real break away from work or whatever. And then, when that was around June time this year, I was looking for things to do and had so many ideas, but I didn't really have any direction. So I'm like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do anything I want. But yeah, and that's when I found TechPixies.
Yeah, that's a funny place to be when you can do anything you want. You've got your health back, and it's like I can do anything I want. And you're no longer in this job, you've moved and everything else, and that can be a place actually where people get stuck because they've got so many options. So what did you do next?
Yeah, so I was thinking, right, I tutored my niece in chemistry. I thought, oh, I can be a tutor. I'm good at science. And then during the lockdown in the Netherlands, I'd picked up my camera and I spent a lot of evenings just photographing things. And I thought, oh, this is something it makes me passionate, it really lights me up. So I thought maybe I could do something with photography, but I'm not sure. So I started sort of Googling things, courses, because I knew I needed to upskill myself. This is complete career change. I've got a master's in public health, but that doesn't really work. It has a lot of life experience, but I needed some skills, like modern day skills. So I was looking for social media management courses and photography courses. And then I was just scrolling the Facebook, and an ad came up for the social media superheroes boot camp.
We found you.
Yes, you found me on because it must have got, Facebook's very clever, isn't it, when you're Googling. So yeah, and I was just drawn to the vibrancy of it, and it was free, so I signed up, and yeah, I haven't looked back since. I mean, the 5-day superhero course was life-changing again, and I was like, this is what I need to be doing. So there was the choice right there, so I decided to go for it.
So you did the social media superhero boot camp, and then you joined the social media management certification, and you showed up to all the calls. You've been making great progress on that. So what have you been doing now? What networks have you been leaning into? What have you been trying? And now you're in the middle of your social media management certification, where you're putting together a plan, you're executing that plan, and you're reporting on that plan. So give us an update on how that's going.
Yeah, so after the course, I started the course, and because I'm basically unemployed, I was like 100% full time. I thought, I'm going to focus on this. So I went through all the training and started trying every platform out. I mean, I was already on Facebook and Instagram, but clearly not using it to its full potential. So yeah, the course really helped me to work out how to use social media to find my platforms and then go for it to basically start a business. So I didn't go and get a job. I didn't go out and get a job. I just went, right, I'm going to start a business. And it was through the talking the community and talking to other tech pixies that I came across branding and personal brand photography. And I was like, that just really spoke to me at that time, because personal brand photography is about telling a story, telling your unique story. And I sort of lent into that. So I launched my business on the 1st of October. I thought I'll wait for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And basically, I'm putting my whole life story out there, Joy. I'm putting blogs out there. I'm putting diaries out there. I'm just really, you know, if you look at my page, it's full of stories. And I'm hoping that will develop into a business soon. Let's hope.
Well, and yes, and that's just it. So you also have been doing the Dream Builder program, which has been helping you focus on the bigger picture of what you'd like to do, and the BBS program, which is our Business Beyond Social. So when people have finished social media management certification, if they launched a business, we encourage them to look at our BBS program, which is our Business Beyond Social. But and in that, we go into a lot more depth of, you know, how to create a lead magnet, how to do a webinar, how to make an offer, all of that good stuff. So you're a student at the highest level at TechPixies because you're doing everything, and you've done it sequentially from social media management to Dream Builder to now Business Beyond Social. But the thing that's amazing to me is the moves that you start to make. So you were telling me that you went to a networking event. Tell us about that, how that impacted you.
Yes, because I think part of the thing that I learned on the Dream Builder program is that although I had all these ideas and I had a path and a plan, is my mindset. My mindset is like, I'm not the most outgoing person. My friends who know me, I'm sort of the quiet one. Yeah, I like to think before I speak. I'm not great on social settings. I'm sort of more of a one-to-one type person. So to put myself out there on social media and in person was like really scary to be honest. I was like, what will people think? Will they judge me? You know? So I realized that I needed to change my mindset, and you suggested to me, come on the Dream Builder course, because I think, you know, it'll really help. And it has. I've been able to sort of create a vision and see myself in the future. And I've been just basically building my confidence. So yeah, I went to an online networking event. I went to an in-person networking event. I've met like-minded people like me. I've even met another lovely photographer. So yeah, it wasn't as scary at all. It was just that initial uncomfortable, but you know, all the ladies, women in business are lovely. And yeah, I was like, why didn't I do this before? But it's all part of the step. It's all part of the journey. So I'm just taking it step by step. And my next one is to, well, basically have my first client, my first paying client. I'd love that. But I'm just happy to tell people stories at the moment. So listen to stories, find out about people, and see how we can support each other.
I love that. And I think that was the other thing too. You're saying that you've, you know, by telling your story and by starting to tell, you know, starting to craft your story and get your story out there, that's where you have this connection with other people. You know, you attract who you are.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the stories that we tell on social media really help us to connect with our ideal client, our ideal customer. They also are great ways for us to process things. And that's one of the things we do in Dream Builder is we actually process old stories, you know, and we stop carrying old stories around with us, and we rework old stories to be very empowering for us. And it's looking back at things that might have happened in our lives that were tricky or hard, and then repurposing those into, well, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't know this, and turning it into a learning experience. And they're great topic of conversation starters, etc. So I think it's really wonderful to do that work of looking back at your old story and saying, if I could rewrite the story differently, you know, how would I write that? and what did I learn from it, and who did it help me to become? And I think that's huge, because if you can learn to tell a story from the start to finish in that way, this is what happened, and this is the change I made, and this is what I learned, then it's a gift to the other person. And also it helps you to be able to connect with them, because they might have gone through that too. And I think it was at one of the networking events, you met someone as well who had breast cancer, and there was that instant connection, having gone through something challenging like that as well.
Yes, that was amazing. So I met this lady, and then I Googled her as you do, and then saw that she was doing a podcast on breast cancer, and I'm like, wow, she's got almost the same story as me. So I reached out to her for a one-to-one, and we connected. We have very similar stories, and it was amazing. There's that special connection when you've been through something like we have, that that you really understand each other, and you just resonate. So it was lovely. And I'd like to reach out to more women as well, and and that's why I'm putting my story out there. When I had cancer, I wrote a blog, and I wrote a diary, but I was too shy to put it out there. I'm like, it was a difficult time. I wasn't in the right mindset. But now, 5 years on, I'm like, why not share it? Why not share my story? If it helps somebody, I mean, it's only just about the realities of it. I'm not trying to change the world here. I'm just putting my story out to say, this is what I went through, and this is how it's changed me. And I can now, 5 years on, like 2 years ago, if a cancer story came on the TV, I'd just be in tears. It was just so raw, and it was just like, no, I can't handle this. But now I'm so much stronger that I'm like, I have hope for them. They're in my heart, but I have hope for them. And I've got to this point, so hopefully they will too. Obviously it all depends on how early you catch it, which is what Breast Cancer Awareness Month is all about. So my messages are on Facebook is, check yourself, know you're normal, and get it checked out, because that's what helped me at the end of the day.
That's very important. And that's a really important message that we need to get out there, for sure. And I think it's one of those things that people just forget to do. And we have to remember to do it, and be diligent about it, because like you said, that early detection is so important. So let's just talk about, you talked about the confidence coming back, the ability to tell your story. Have there been any other impacts on your life?
Just connecting, putting myself out there more, connecting more with my old friends, because as a humanitarian, you're always sort of traveling all over the world. I was based in Amsterdam. I had lovely friends and colleagues there. But coming back to the UK, it's been amazing to catch up with. I'm so much closer to old friends, and that's been wonderful. So. And I'm staying here now. I'm not so bothered about going off traveling. I was always a traveler. I mean, if I do go traveling again, it will be because I want to, because I'll be free. I'll be free to enjoy myself. And I'm just wanting to get a better life balance. I want to slow down. I'm not getting any younger. Time is moving on, but that's okay. But I want to be able to just take it easier. Do what I want to do when I want to do it, with what I have available to me. And TechPixies has helped me with that, because it resonates that we can all do whatever we want to do if we have a dream, and we follow that dream.
And I would say that probably in addition to having the dream, it's having the system of support and a structured process to follow, a roadmap that has been tried and tested, which you've done with the different programs we've done. We create a roadmap. We make sure you know exactly what you're doing next, and you're moving forwards. Well, it's been really fun to watch you blossom. I was sort of thinking you were going to talk also about the fact that you put your brave pants on and you started a TikTok account.
I did. I
think it's so much fun. So that's just going back to the social media side. You were doing Facebook and Instagram, but then you decided to explore some of the other networks, and TikTok was one of them. What's
Yes.
that experience been like for you?
Well, when I started the social media certification course, I just wanted to try everything. So I went on YouTube. Well, I didn't do much on YouTube, but the TikTok thing was hilarious. Yeah. I put some things out there and I got loads of views, and I'm like, oh, this is exciting. But yeah, so I did try it. I'll try anything once, So, but I've gone more towards Instagram and Facebook now, because that's where my ideal clients are hanging out. But I'm not afraid to go live anymore. I've done a live. Wow. Yeah, I think I need to do more of that, more video, because I'm used to being behind the camera, taking lovely photographs. But yeah, so I need to get myself more in front of the camera on video. But that's something I'm working on. And today is one of those opportunities. So yeah, I'm saying.
Well, let's talk about who your ideal client is, because I think one of the things we've been doing in the Business Beyond Social program is creating lead magnets. And what's a lead magnet? A lead magnet gets someone off of social media and onto your mailing list. I talk about this in the Social Media Superhero Bootcamp. We have it as a bonus in our social media management certification, but what we found is people really need some handholding in getting that lead magnet created, because it can be a bit confusing. So a lead magnet, you want to think about it as a solution to your ideal customer's potential first problem, right? So you have created a lead magnet, which I want you to share with us, and we'll put it into the show notes and in our weekly email. And so I want you to talk about that. But before we get to that point, just describe to me who your ideal client is, because there might be somebody listening to the podcast that thinks, actually, I really need to do some brand photography, and Dawn's the person I want to work with. So tell us more, Dawn, about your ideal
great. So yeah, my ideal client is a woman in her 40s to 60s, maybe younger. I'm not fussy, but she's a business owner, and she's probably in the more creative field, or health and well-being, because I know those fields have helped me during my journey. And she's a bit shy. We're all a bit shy. We all feel a bit awkward putting ourselves in front of the camera. I know I am. Look at me. I mean, I'm like so awkward, making funny faces and things, but that's okay. So I want to help those women who know that they need to use social media to elevate their brand and business, to get their ideal clients. I want to make them feel comfortable. It's okay to be your authentic self. You don't need to use the Instagram filters. You just need to put yourself and your story out there. Like I'm doing it. If you go on my socials, you'll see I'm doing it. I'm putting myself out there. And I'd love to be able to support you in, telling your stories through creating a brand, a set of on-brand images. And I've also got the social media skills to give you some guidance on how to use those images. So if I can do it, I think you can do it as well.
It's not just brand photography. You're actually providing them with the photos and then helping them craft the stories that they need to put out there with those photos. That's incredible. What a gift.
Yes. And I think, I've learned that through working with other TechPixies. So I'm going tomorrow to have my brand photo shoot done with one of our TechPixies tomorrow, which is really exciting. Got my new haircut. And I've worked with another TechPixie as well, who's helped me with my brand, thinking about my values and my mission, and then helping me with my social media. So the TechPixies community is full of support as well, and that's been brilliant. Yeah,
we do. We have an amazing community, and what I love is actually once you're in it, the collaborations start happening, the connections start, and they happen organically. You end up in a breakout room during our Monday coffee, or you end up in a star pod with someone, or you end up on a call about, and the connections happen. Or we know that you've got this interest and we connect you to someone because we've got a lot of knowledge of the database and who's in it. So yeah, absolutely. It's
I'm still looking for a TechPixie who lives close to me, but we'll get there eventually. I want more people to join.
Where are you based in the country?
Leicestershire,
okay.
Midlands. So.
I'll look up the map and see if we can find one near you. Well, if you're in Leicestershire, maybe you should be joining TechPixies, and then you can be buddies with.
Exactly. Welcome. The more the merrier.
Yes. All right. So, Dawn, I guess the next thing I want to ask is, you have a lead magnet. What is it? How can people find it?
Okay, so what I did was a lead magnet. It's a guide. It's my formula. It's because I'm an ex-scientist. It's my formula to capturing confidence for your personal brand photo shoot. So I know, can you imagine, I'm going for a photo shoot and I haven't got a clue what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to come across. So yeah, it's a guide to just take you step by step, because I love doing things by step, to how to prepare. So creating an inspiration board, so finding photos of yourself that you actually like, finding other photographs on social media or on Pinterest, for example, that you can drag into a mood board, which you can share with your photographer and show this is how I want to come across. But the photographer as well is obviously a professional photographer in personal brand, will be able to guide you as well in that. It's about choosing your wardrobe to reflect you and your personality and your brand, choosing the right location, making sure the time is right. Timing is everything. And it's the main bit is about feeling comfortable. How are you going to relax and enjoy the process, right? Because you want to have fun. You don't want to see it as a chore when you're putting yourself out there. So it's just a few little tips, and yeah, it's available on my, I've got a landing page which I create. I've never had a landing page before since TechPixies. I've got a website, so if you Google dlt2020photography.co.uk, you'll find my website. I'm on socials, across all the socials. I've managed to, another TechPixie tip, I've changed all my handles over socials to DLT2020 photography. Luckily nobody else had that. And my lead magnet, yeah, it's dlt2020photography.co.uk/capture, as in capture confidence. And that's what I'm all about. So, yeah.
All right. So if you've enjoyed listening to this, I mean, this was a great podcast for lots of different reasons. One, if you're thinking about getting brand photography done, and I can tell you right now, our most successful TechPixies have brand photography. I have done brand photography with a TechPixie within our community, Jane Hyde, who's amazing. And I have, so I know the value of that. And, the gift that you're giving someone is these beautiful photos that they can use to tell their story, so that they can attract who they are. They can attract people that are like-minded, that they want to work with, that they love. And so I absolutely love that you are going down that avenue with this, because it's so great. So if you're listening to this and you want to know those tips, go grab that wonderful gift that Dawn is giving you.
Okay.
And of course, I would love it if the first client that Dawn got came off of the podcast. It's not unheard of. I've recently had a couple messages from people who came on the podcast. They told their story and they got a client off the back of it. And that to me is the gift that I can give you for coming onto the podcast.
Oh,
so
wow.
let's hope
that. I would love that.
someone-
I'm available. I'm here 24/7 waiting. So yeah. And I'd just like to say for all the women out there, in October, that there is life after cancer. It might not be for those going through this journey at the moment. It might be a very difficult journey. I completely understand that, but just know there is light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, 5 years on, I'm actually celebrating 5 years clear at the end of the month on the 31st. So yeah, it's a big month for me, and I wish the best to everybody else who's going through that same journey. And you're in my heart.
And you're not alone, and that's important.
You're not alone,
You're not alone in this journey. There are women who have been through it and that want to be there, for you to know that they're there. So Dawn, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to interview you for the podcast, and I cannot wait for the text message that says that you got a client off the back of the podcast, which also means, by the way, if you do decide to book Dawn, let her know that you heard about her on the podcast, so that
absolutely. And you can find my WhatsApp number on my socials.
Brilliant. I love it. Yes. And
thanks, Joy. It's been a pleasure.
We're watching live, and she says, congratulations, Dawn, on your 5 years.
Oh, thanks, Lindsay.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, Dawn. Okay. Wow. That was so much fun. Of course, I always love doing these interviews with our alumni who've had incredible results. And, I always say, if you do the work works. And I mean that. We have We have women who get started on the program, and maybe for whatever reason it gets delayed or stopped, and they carry on with our extension program and they do end up finishing, which is so great. And I love that so much. And also because we focus on life coaching and social media training and business coaching, we can meet you where you're at, where you need support. We didn't have 3 programs. Even 3 years ago, I literally, up until about 2 years ago, I only had 1 program, and that was our social media training program. And I know that isn't for everyone, but we now have Dream Builder. We now have Life Mastery program. We also have our mastermind, and we have our Business Beyond Social program. We have lots of ways to help you. What we are specialists in and experts in is working with women between the ages of 40 and 60 who really want to live their best life. That's really what we're all about. And for many of those women, it's launching a business. It's gaining the confidence to go get that dream job. I had someone this morning on our Mindset Monday who was sharing her story of taking the plunge and quitting a job that really wasn't serving her to lean into a job that she's super excited about. And so you never know what's going to happen, but you do have to make a decision that you want to live a freer, fuller, more expanded version of yourself. And once you've made that decision, we'll probably pop into your life. And just so you know, we've got lots of options at TechPixies, and we'd love to support you where you're at. If you ever have a question or you want to know more about our programs, email us at support@techpixies.com. You can also WhatsApp us via the website. So if you go to techpixies.com, there's a WhatsApp button right on the right-hand side of the top of the website, and you can send a WhatsApp, and I will always respond to help point you in the right direction. So I am super grateful that you have listened to our podcast today. And if it's meaningful to you, please share it with someone that you love who might also find it meaningful. And just a little update, because I know the last few podcasts I have been asking for you to share this with our Wave Walker podcast, which was with Suzanne Haywood, which was an amazing podcast, an incredible story of resilience and triumph in adversity. That podcast pushed us over the 100,000 podcast download mark. Yesterday at 4 in the afternoon, I think it was like 4:54, I got a message in my inbox that said we hit the 100,000 downloads, and I'm really, really grateful for that. It was something I never thought would happen, and I didn't realize that it was when it was going to happen, or I didn't know when it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen, and because it was coming closer and closer and closer. But I'm very, very proud of the team at TechPixies for all the work they put into the podcast. So in case you don't know, we've been doing over 200 episodes. I have Catherine Conway, who will watch it back, and she will edit it up and take out bits to clean it up, tighten it up. And she will pass that information on to Colby. Colby is our amazing employee at TechPixie who is also neurodiverse. And he's a great video editor. He edits things down and sends them back to Catherine, and then she approves them, and they go back and forth until they get something that they really love. And then once they've got that, Lisa gets involved. Lisa Mellis is our designer. She creates the YouTube thumbnail for the podcast, and then also creates the podcast artwork that goes up onto all of the podcasting software. And then we have our amazing social media team. So we have a paid person, and we have an intern. And at the moment, that's Kelly Austin and Claire Louise Wood. They get that content out onto social. Now, of course, we've had many, many people over the years take on those roles. So it's not just about Claire Louise and Kelly, although they've been amazingly supportive the last 12 weeks and then some, because Kelly's been working with us for a long time now. So just want to say there's a team behind this. It's not just me. It's also the guests. Every single guest that comes on the podcast, I am super grateful for. And more importantly, you. You're the watcher, you're the listener, you're the person that takes time out of every week to be inspired by this podcast. So if you weren't listening, we wouldn't be here. So I'm really grateful for you and your support in helping us to reach this major, major milestone. And I just want you to know, if you're thinking about launching a podcast, I did it all by myself without a team in the first year. It was a lot of me just doing a video on social media, downloading that video and getting it up on Buzzsprout. And then eventually Catherine took that over. But I started the podcast by just doing a live video, downloading it and uploading it. And then Catherine came to me and said, do you mind if I just edit it up a bit? And then Colby was already on staff, so he started doing the other editing, and then Lisa started doing the design. So we worked as a team, but that team wasn't always there. But the most important person in this equation is you, because you're the listener, you're the watcher, you're the person who makes this podcast possible. And I'm super, super, super grateful for that. And huge shout out to the team for helping me get to this place. All right. Bye for now. Speak to you soon. Have a great week.